All right, what's going on, everybody? I hope everyone out there is as fine as you can possibly be in this existence. So, I have something that I have to do. This is something that needs to be done in my life because I have literally reached a point of no return as an individual, as the true person that I really am, whatever all of that is. I have reached this absolute breaking point. I have reached this point to where I've crossed the line a long time ago. I've been crossed the line. But this is something that I can no longer be in denial of. I can't act as if it's not happening. I can't act as if I believe something that I don't believe, or trying to make something work that will never work. And I know that it will never work. And to be vulnerable like this, it's very hard. It's very hard to be vulnerable like this because once you expose yourself like I'm about to expose myself, there is no going back. And I know that there's no going back from this. But I know through it all that I have been true. I have not lied. If I ever said that I was a hypocrite, that's because life is hypocritical. Life is contradicting. Life is a paradox. Life does all these things that it does. And yes, I take responsibility for things that I do when I do them, but there are also things that I keep guilt tripping myself into that is not really my fault. And I keep blaming myself. I keep making myself feel guilty for these things that I absolutely have no control over. I did not create them. I did not make them the way that it is. I did not make this reality the way that it is. And there's a lot of other things too. People that might not have been brought up with religion, this may be hard to understand too. But you have to understand that these things are so ingrained in my brain that it makes it very hard to talk to people that call themselves Christians or religious people, and people that believe that there is a God out there that is floating around watching everything and is making sure that everything is how it's supposed to be. And, a lot of people say a sky daddy. And I am a person where I do not believe this anymore. I don't believe that there is some guy in the clouds with a beard that is looking down upon us, and there's a lot of things that I just don't believe anymore that I wanted to believe, but I just don't believe anymore. And I can't make myself believe them. But with this, I know this is all probably going to hit a lot of people out there where in places where it's very hidden. See, this is the thing with being vulnerable. Vulnerability exposes denial. And the denial of a lot of people in our world, it is so thick and heavy that I'm literally exposing myself, and I'm being real with myself, and I'm really saying it how it is, because this is how reality is, and this is how I see reality as a person. And if you are someone that you cannot handle cold, harsh truth, then from here on out, I would suggest that you don't even watch my content because I'm just way too deep. I cannot lie to myself. I can't put on a show. I can't act like I'm not discouraged. I wanted to believe that there was this God that had the best interests for me and that everything would be okay and all this, like the whole thing that comes with it. But the more that I look at this reality and the more that I go on with life, I'm sorry to say, but there is something very wrong here. There is something very fucked up about this reality. And I know this is absolutely crazy. Like, I just can't even really believe that I'm at this point in my life, but I can't even talk to the people closest to me because they label themselves as Christians. And if I would talk about some of the things that I talk about, there is going to be this huge disconnect between us because all that it's going to lead into is them saying something to me like, oh, well, you got to pray to God about it. God got everything. God is in control and just all the things. And I know that their intentions are good, but at the same time, this is not good because it's not getting to the root of what's really going on here and the things that really go on. And this kills me as a person. It's literally, it's so unhealthy for me as an individual because I could get real and I could say what I really need to say, but at the same time, if I say what I really need to say and I really, really tell them how I feel about reality and how I feel about how they think, it's just going to either lead into an argument or it's going to lead into us disagreeing to a point where I almost say to myself, should we even coexist with one another? And this is what really, really, this is why I don't want to talk about this and I don't want to put this out there because these are people that I do love and that I care for. These are people that I cry for. These are people that I even pray for. I even pray for them. Even though I don't believe that I want to believe this. And see, look, you're going to have to really, really understand that when you are someone that believed in these things for so long and you actually thought that it was a real thing, like I did. And I'm not saying that the divinity of Christ did not teach me about compassion and other things. I'm not saying that, but it's very hard to describe to people what I am going for to say here. There is something in the doctrine that showed me something and taught me something, but the more that I looked around in this world and the more honest that I got with myself and the more that I really looked at things that people are still to this day in denial of, and I see how horrible it is, and I see the suffering, and I see how people just get cancers out of nowhere and die, and then we say things like, oh, well, that was God's plan or something. It really makes me cringe because I had an aunt that went through cancer and died horribly. I mean, it was absolutely horrific, her death. And you have people saying that there was some reason, there was some purpose behind her dying like that. And I don't accept that. It actually makes me very angry. It makes my blood boil, if you want me to be honest, because I'm sorry I couldn't worship a God that would make somebody go through that to show us what? To show us that there's suffering here? To show me that, oh, one day you might not have this happen, but you're gonna die too. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me anymore. And when I talk about God, when I'm referring to the God of my consciousness, I'm referring to things like when it's necessary to have compassion, have compassion. When we need to confront one another with the cold, harsh truth, there is a time to do that. And we need to stop running away from each other. And this is what religion does. This is what Christianity does. It runs away from, even though it talks about the suffering in the world. And I'm not saying that people that label themselves as Christians, yes, a lot of them are really good people. They have good intentions for things and they want to see the world to be a better place. But at the same time, the God that they believe in, the God that I wanted to believe in, I wanted to believe, and I even still say these prayers. I even still say now, I don't know why I can't think of it off the top of my head. I said this prayer a million times. Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from cruelty, from evil, from maliciousness. That still resonates with me. But then at the same time, I look around at our world and I say, well, God, how long is it going to be? You people keep saying that, Christ is coming back and God's coming back and God's going to make things right. But when you look at all this, I can't believe that anymore. There is something not right about this reality, period. And that is the truth. If you're in denial of that, then you might as well click off of this video and go and do whatever else it is that you do, because it's not going to resonate. And the more that I look at this, the more that I have looked into scripture and I have thought about the concept of God, and I have really, there was a time that I really truly believed in this stuff. And the crazy thing is, Christ did deliver me from a lot of things. This is the crazy part. But then there's also the religious trauma of you're to blame, you're wrong, you're guilty. And yes, I have went through all of that too. I have went through all of that, and I have repented for things that I did because I was truly sorry for them. And I have seen evils, and I have seen wickedness in this world. I have felt evil. I have been in the presence of evil men and women. I even been in situations that I knew that someone wanted to do something to me, and I thought in my mind, how do you deal with this, Nate? How do you go about this? And you know what I did? I had compassion on that person, and I loved that person, and I did what other people wouldn't do. I didn't look at them like an enemy. I didn't look at them. Now, for me to get into detail, I'm not going to get into details about these things because that's my personal life. But I have spiritual discernment. I know when things are fucked up. And I see so many of you out there all the time talking about how you hate this reality and how you're feeling depressed and how you don't feel like you can talk with anybody and just the whole 100 yards of the football field. I understand more than probably any person in this world what you are going through and the things that you think about. I understand and I get it. And there was a time where I was in a state of absolute, I don't even know how to describe it to you. This is why it's so hard for me to talk about this. It's so hard for me to express this to you because there was a time where I believed in God absolutely to the point where I would sit in a room. I didn't need a television. I didn't need a notebook. I didn't need music. I didn't need anything. Something happened to me that I can't even describe to people. And that I did that for about like a year and a half or something, where I would just sit and I would, like when it says, know that I am God. Now, I'm not trying to get religious. I'm trying to tell you something for yourself. I'm not trying to get religious. This isn't for us to you see what I mean? This is why it's so hard to tell you about these things, because a lot of these things are real in my life, but a lot of these things I know are not real. So there's a paradox going on. And there was a time where I could just sit in a room and I could just meditate and say, God is with me. I am with God. And God, I know that you have my best interests in mind. I know that you're here. I don't need to worry about anything. And I would just sit there for days like these monks and stuff do. When they go into a cave and they sit there, I was that monk. I did that before. But yet, there was still, my drug addiction was still there. I still had sexual desires. There was still something wrong. Even in that, there was still something wrong. So anyway, I'm not trying to depress us or anything. That's the last thing I'm trying to do. But when you get to these root problems, when you get to these root things, we have got to stop being in denial of things. I mean, and I don't know how to really communicate this to people. I really don't. But anyway, in all of this, cheers. Like, I just, if only I could communicate this telepathically to another human being and we could see eye to eye on what I'm saying here, and we could actually confront this, and we could get to the root of things, and we could get to a point of absolute understanding within ourselves and with each other, the whole world would literally change. I know that it would change. I know that it will and it would change. But yet we continue to lie to ourselves about stuff. We continue to be in denial when things are happening And then what we do is we use the word God as a crutch, as a stronghold, as an excuse to not face the things that are really going on in our life. And I know there's so many people out there that use the word God. There's so many people using this word. There's so many people in the spiritual community that they're continually saying that they are chosen and that God got their back, but not that person's back. Like, I am not trying to insult anyone when I say this, but why would God have that person's back, would have this guy's back over there, but then this girl over there, he wouldn't have her back and something horrible would happen to her? I do not believe that at all. That is sadistic to me. That is morally insane to me. And what I say to myself, and this is the craziest thing, then I will look like the bad guy when I say this. But this is the brutal, honest truth. I could literally imagine and think of in a vision a world that is way better than this world. Way better than this world. Because if I could have it how I want it, I would literally give us all an eternal epiphany. Or I would make it that if you want to have sex all day long, you can have sex all day long until your heart's content. If you want to make music, you can make music all day long, or whatever it would be. You can do that to your heart's content. Why can we not all come together to sing the same song in glory? Why can we not all come together for the best interests of each other, even when we know that life is going to serve us a problem, because life is a problem. It's a continual problem. That's why we do everything that we do, is because life literally is the problem, if you want to be honest. Now, I know if this is scrambling up people's brain, if people can somehow not register this or get this or comprehend this or understand this, I know why. It's because the denial is so thick and we do not want to face it. We do not want to face it. We do not want to get real with it. We do not want to get absolutely brutal with ourselves and each other. And we keep playing this game that we're playing out here. This is why you have masks and facades, and you have people that are putting on the persona for everybody, and it just keeps going. And this ego, it's ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world, this ego that we have. And I'm talking about the ego that wants to prove something to people. We do not have anything to prove here to one another. There is nothing to prove here anymore. There's nowhere to go. If I go from New York to Los Angeles, where have I went? I'm still right here with me. I haven't gone anywhere. And I don't like getting like this. I don't like getting sarcastic like this, because if I'm being for real, This shit is literally killing me that I can't really express myself fully, which I'm doing right now. I am expressing myself fully. And you know what? I don't get depressed. Life depresses me. That's what's going on. I'm done guilt tripping myself. I'm done with this freaking guilt tripping bullshit. Thinking that, oh, it's your fault, Nate, why animals in nature got to kill each other to eat. You're supposed to do something about that, Nate. You're supposed to have so much compassion that you're supposed to round all these animals up, or you're supposed to save all the creatures, which I know that I can't do that, but that's how compassionate I am. That's how much I see the suffering and the misery. I see that and I go, why? Why would God have created this world for sentient creatures to have to rip each other apart and eat each other? Why? So that either tells me that there is no God that made it that way, or this just came to be what it is somehow. And that it just boggles the mind to me how we're even here. It boggles my mind of how I'm even here speaking. I feel so dissociated from myself and other people sometimes. None of this feels real. It feels like some kind of joke, some kind of just absolute joke. Now, how am I supposed to vent that to people that believe that God got their best interest in mind, that believe that God is good, that believe in all those things? I can't have a discussion with them because it's going to go right back into really not seeing what really goes on in this world and how this world really is and the things that are truly happening, which I am absolutely destroyed by. I am terrified. I am broken beyond all infinity that you could ever think of. And I want someone that understands with me to just come up and just say, Nate, I understand. And give me a big fucking hug, kiss me on the cheek, and say, I am here with you. I love you. You are my brother. You are the truth. Because if you are with me, you are with the absolute truth. If you are looking at me as, there's no way that you could ever look at me and not look at truth. It's impossible. Now, am I Christ? Did I die on a cross 2,000 some years ago? No, I'm not that person. But when Christ says these things, we're missing the point of why those words are being said. Now, here I'm going back to scripture again, because this is how I think. When Christ said, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life, we are supposed to point that back onto ourselves. Am I trying to be God? No. I'm not trying to be God. And I'm not saying that I am God. But when Christ said, come to me, all of you who are burdened and heavy laden with problems, that's what he's referring to when he says things like that. But then, see, religious folk will do something like, oh, well, yeah, well, just you got to pray to God. You got to take it to God. God is what you got to go to. And they deny the person that is coming to them with these things because they really see the world for what the world really is. And am I wrong for that? No, I'm not wrong for that. But yet, there's a part of my mind that will keep guilt tripping me into thinking that I'm the wrong one. That I'm somehow not getting this. That I'm somehow, oh, well, no one is bigger than God and you have no right to question God. If I can't question the concept of God, if I cannot question the thing that created me, and I cannot know what he knows or what it knows or what the source or whatever people might think that it is knows. If I can't know what that thing knows and I can't share in some epiphany together, then I would never want to worship something like that. I would never, ever, ever give everything that I am to something like that. I can't. It's impossible because it's a lie. It's not really the truth. And J. Krishnamurti says that truth is a pathless land. I believe that in the way that he's saying it, that truth is a pathless land. There is no such thing as getting to the ultimate truth. Truth is when you see something that's going on and you call it out for what it is. You expose it. You get vulnerable about it, no matter what. And what's happening today, there is so much gaslighting going on. There is so much guilt tripping. There is so many people that right away when something is going on, they don't know how to deal with this situation. So they just say, take it to God. Pray to God. God will help you. And I'm like, that's not why I came to you. I came to you so that you could be there with me in it, so that we could get through it together as a unit, like we're supposed to do. And this is my dilemma. I literally hate to do this video. I hate doing this video. I don't like it. I actually despise doing this video because I'm talking about things that are very close and dear to me as a person. But yet, even though I love the people that I love, we are just not seeing eye to eye on things. And I don't know if there's a way that we can even coexist because I literally cannot talk to this. I cannot talk about this with the people that I want to be able to talk about it with. And then I got to keep guilt tripping myself. I got to keep almost gaslighting myself, if that makes sense. I got to keep keeping it to myself. And I got to keep acting like I can just ignore it and ignore it and ignore it and ignore it and ignore it. And I do that so much that it turns into this ball of atomic bomb energy where I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm ready to explode. And I am. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm resentful because I can talk about these things, but I don't want to have to deal with people that are being in denial and will not get honest with me. And then that's why I just keep it to myself and I don't talk with anybody about it. And I hold on to it and I keep it inside for weeks and months and years. And then it comes out in a video like this because I'm someone that when I see something wrong, I see something wrong. when there's something that I see, that something suffering, I feel for that thing. And a lot of the times, most people just don't even care. And then they just use all these excuses. And it's, to me, it's ridiculous, it's disgusting, and it's just not right. It's not right. It's just not right. I don't know how else to explain it. It's not right. And I never do these videos how I thought that I was going to do them. So this is a disclaimer very late in the video. I have to tell anybody that is here on my platform that comes here, I have got to tell you this before I go any further. From me going through what I have went through in this life, I have seen the most beautiful. I have had epiphanies. I have had very great times. I have witnessed very great things. But at the same time, I have seen the most horrible things. I have seen my brother dead on the floor from an overdose. I have witnessed my aunt and uncle being in a coma from drugs when they overdosed. I have witnessed my aunt go through a horrible cancer and die. I have witnessed hives of insects being fucking sprayed with pesticides because they're just trying to survive, but they're pests. So we have to kill them. Why? It's so fucking cruel. And I have seen evil, and I have witnessed wickedness and maliciousness and hate and everything. And then I have also witnessed love, and I have witnessed compassion and glory and all these things. And it's still a part of me, and it's always going to be a part of me. And I can't get rid of that. That's never going to go. And even though I don't want to, I accept it because it's me. It's written on the tablet of my soul, if there is such a thing as that. My stains are written on my tablet. My triumphs are written on my tablet. My moral wrong things that I did are written on my tablet. The good deeds that I did are written on my tablet. And I know this for myself. And even though I don't want to die, I'm almost saying to myself, I don't really have anything else here to prove or to do. I just want to see us do better for ourselves, and for us to have compassion when it's needed, or for us to really take a look at what's really going on and to stop lying to ourselves. Because there is nothing that I detest more than the stench of lies. Nothing that I detest more than a liar, or people that lie or bear false witness against a person. There is nothing that I hate more than these things. I hate gossip. I hate it all. I hate it all because it brings about no harmony. It brings about no sanctuary. It brings nothing of what we're actually looking for in our lives and in ourselves, but yet we'll still be in denial of it because we're so distracted by all this stupid bullshit. And we keep lying to ourselves and being in denial of the things that really go on. And then we wonder why we're sick, because we don't get to the root of things. We're not digging the root up in this life. And will that solve the problem? No. It won't solve the problem, because there's no such thing as ultimately solving any problem. We have resolutions here. We can solve things, but there is no ultimate answer here. It doesn't exist. It's not real. And coming to that brutal truth, it's brutal. It's brutal. And it will crush you, and it will break you, and it'll do a lot of things to you. It'll do a lot of things to you. And as bad as I wish, as much as I wish that I could literally think of something or snap my fingers and make this world a better place, or to imagine a better place for myself and the world, I can't do that because I don't have the ability to do that or the resources to do that. And my imagination some of it can come into reality, but most of it, it's impossible, because having that happen, then the only way that some of what I imagine could happen is if people would come to the altar of truth with me and would submit to my vision. But how that would ever come to be, I have no clue. I don't know. This is so strange. I know that what I'm saying is so strange and it's probably so bizarre, but listen, I can't lie to myself, and I am not going to lie to myself. I cannot be in denial of these things anymore. And there's a few things that I wanted to talk about with my personal life and why these things. I wanted to get into detail a little more. But even that, like, this is stuff that is really personal to me. And this is stuff that it's very hard to talk about, because I'm fully exposing myself. And I'm really putting my whole essence out there for people to see. And do I want to do this? No. I don't want to do it, but I feel like it needs to be done. So if there is any such thing as this word faith, then I'm probably someone that has the most faith in the world, because I do things that are the unseen, the things that nobody else will do. I take the action to speak it, even though I might not be acting, showing everything at this very moment. That doesn't determine my character. And I know there's a time to take action, and there is a time to speak. And I don't know, man. It's like I don't even know where to go with the rest of this video, because it's just one of them videos that I did not want to do this, but I had to get this off of my chest. Like, I have literally allowed myself to turn into, not that I'm going to be malicious with it, I'm still going to be the better man. I'm going to be the better person. I'm not going to hurt somebody. I'm not going to go and insult somebody. I'm not going to go and cause harm to places or other people because of how I feel. No, I'm going to be the bigger person, and I'm going to call this shit out for what it truly is. And I'm going to fucking take it upon myself, upon my own I am. That's what I wanted to do before I end this video. I have to tell people out there. I have to tell anyone who comes across my channel out in oblivion. I would highly recommend, do not bring any more sentient creatures into this life. Just don't do it. Don't make them go through any of this. They don't need to experience this. They don't need to know this. Just leave them be the unborn. But if you're someone that you have brought someone here, then you better love that individual. You better care for them. You better be there for them. I'm telling you, look at them like they are the most important thing in your life. And develop some kind of connection in a way where you're being brutally honest, even with your kids or your children or whatever. Tell them the truth, how you really feel. If you see things and you're holding on to shit, don't hold on to it. Even if it causes some kind of breakup, or you got to get away from each other, or some kind of thing happens. You have to get real with your own self. You have to get real with your own soul, with your own person, your own consciousness, whatever you want to call it. So with that, yes, I am somebody that I will never bring somebody here. I couldn't bring somebody here. From what I went through personally and what I've seen in this world, I could not bring someone here to go through any of those same things. I just couldn't do it myself. And the other thing is, I am someone, I resonate with a lot of scripture. I resonate with the divinity of Christ. I resonate with a lot of spirituality, but at the same time, I do not believe that there is some God out there that we're looking up to anymore, that they're looking down and all this. I don't believe that anymore. I don't know what I believe. I don't know what I believe anymore. I believe that if there is a God, God is right here. God is right here within myself, because I am the living temple. That's what I believe. But yet, see, religion, my own thoughts will guilt trip me and will say, oh no, you know that's not right. You know that's wrong. See, and I don't know if you want to call this religious trauma. I don't know what to call it. I really don't know what to call it. But the reason I resonate with Christ personally is because Christ sacrifices something for somebody else. And if none of us sacrifice anything for ourselves or one another, then what kind of world are we really living in? To me, this is me sacrificing something for someone else. I know it might not seem like that, but I'm literally sacrificing my own life by talking about my own life. I'm sacrificing my time. I'm sacrificing personal things. I'm literally sacrificing what I know that I am and things that I just can't be in denial of. And that is not a polite, no, that is not a, well, whatever word I'm looking for, thing to do. That is not a good thing. It's not a good feeling. But at the same time, I don't care how it feels. Because if I get through how it feels and I get honest with myself, then I will know that in the end, I was right. In the end, I told the truth. In the end, I exposed myself and I put myself out there, and I basically kind of crucified myself in that way, if I'm being honest. And that's why I resonate with Christ, because Christ represents sacrifice and compassion, and treat others as you treat yourself. You know, he is the sanctuary. He is the sanctuary of my soul. Whether it's a story or it was made up, I don't really care about that part. And I know how this can get into all kinds of crazy conversations, and people have so many different ways of looking at it. And I don't even know if I really want to say what I really truly think of the story of the whole Bible or the whole Bible itself, because the way I see it is not how other people see it. And I think I'm going to keep that to myself, because the way that I see it, most people will probably think I'm absolutely nuts. They'll probably think I lost my mind and I went crazy, and they'll think that it's blasphemy, but it's actually the truth. It's actually the truth. And I know why Christ sent himself to this world. I know why he sent himself to this world. And I know I sound religious right now. I sound like I'm going back into my religiousness. I sound like I'm going back into my religious trauma, but I'm not. I'm really not. This is something that I just know within myself is something that's true, because there are things that happened for me, but at the same time, like I said, I do not label myself as religious. I do not label myself as a believer, because I truly believe now that the only God is something that is within yourself. You are going to be what you think God is. See, God is a reflection of yourself, if the word means anything. How are you going to go about doing whatever you do? That is what will determine what kind of God you think there is, or that you think that you believe in. It has nothing to do with speaking a few words to somebody, or throwing scripture at them, or saying you should or you shouldn't. It has nothing to do with that. It's, what are you taking upon yourself? God is what you make God to be. But don't be in denial. See, here's the part that nobody wants to hear. Do not be in denial when the things that you think God is for yourself goes wrong, or bad things happen, or problems come, because then we're going back into the denial stage. We're going back into the denial phase, and we're being in denial again, and we're holding on to that, and it's baggage. It's not necessary to hold on to. And listen, words are not going to do this justice. Words are not going to do this video justice in any manner, because I have literally transcended the human vocabulary. I have transcended language. I am an energy now. I am pure energy. I am absolute understanding. I am the kingdom. I am the sanctuary, because that's what I seek. That's what I want. That's all that I'm after in this life. I am after solitude and sound. I am after sanctuary, and I am after my own temple. That is what I worship. I worship the temple of my soul. That is what I worship. And a lot of that has to do with my imagination. A lot of that has to do with my vision. A lot of that has to do with what I know is right and wrong within myself. And when I say something like that, most people that are religious, they will think that I'm somehow wrong, or like I'm the one that is somehow the bad guy in this thing. And I'm not. I am not that. I've done bad things, yes, but I'm none of those labels. I'm none of those labels. See, this is what I mean. There is no explanation. There is no really explaining what I am going for to say. It either resonates with a person and a person can reflect on it with me and you are truly, truly, truly here with me, or you're not here with me at all. And if you're not here with me, I can't blame you. Am I upset? Yeah, because if you were a true person, you would really be here with me. You would not